Okay, this is the 7-Eleven shoot 'em up story. uh, Back in the 1970s, I was got married to a girl here in Medford, Oregon, and we took off, went to Dallas, Texas to hook up with a pal of mine. And we were playing music. He was a guitar player, and things, went a little south, a little left, a little right, whatever. And I wound up working at a 7-Eleven out in Garland, Texas. And during that time, there was a group of people who'd been driving around from one 7-Eleven to another and robbing the place at gunpoint. And they weren't hurting anybody up until at some point, eventually, someone had followed one of the robbers out of the store and shot him dead. And from that point on, this group of people continued robbing the stores, but they began shooting the clerks, kind of either execution style or just basically turning around and popping off around at the clerk on the way out the door, sometimes hitting them, sometimes not. So at any rate, I'm working the graveyard shift, right, at the 7-Eleven. Now the county sheriff out there was a good man, and he didn't want any of that going on his beat, on his watch. So he was stopping at the store like 2 or 3 times a night and hanging out. And you got to picture this. Garland, Texas is like, at night, it's just full of nothing but hookers and strippers and all kinds of humanity. And they're in and out of 7-Elevens all night. They come in for some reason in carloads and buy armloads of groceries with $1 bills, because they're strippers. That people sticking $1 bills in their G-strings all the time. And there's no, everybody knows what's going on. There's this, you got to picture it, there's this sheriff basically standing there all the time. At any rate, the guy had to go, and do the rest of his rounds, and he asked me if I had a weapon, and I don't play games with the police. I said, yes, sir, I've got my nunchucks here behind this counter, and I know they're illegal, and blah, blah. And, he kind of asked me about it. He says, well, whatever you do, just kind of don't let anybody see them until it's too late. That was the plan. At any rate, he takes off, and eventually these people are out still robbing stores. And as the sun comes up, the store manager's coming in to count the till and change the day shift and stuff. And because he and I are not wearing the 7-Eleven smocks as we're supposed to be wearing, we set in motion this series of events that was well, what happens is we're standing there. We both got our hands full of money. And Ken was the guy's name. He's counting, and I'm handing him, and I notice out of the corner of my eye, a car pulls up, and it doesn't quite pull all the way up. It kind of stops short, and whoever was in it slams it in reverse and tears out of this parking lot and drives off. And I'm like, Ken, did you see that? I mean, I don't know what that was about. I'm thinking the thieves or something. They saw two of us and they didn't want to come in, but instead it turned out to be it was a lady. And she had seen the two of us in there, and she was also thinking about the robbers. And she thought we had tied up the crew in there, and I executed them all or something, and we were making off with the money. Well, we didn't know. I had no idea that was going on. And we're standing there counting the money and just doing our job and getting the till straight for the day. And next thing you know, I look over my shoulder and I says, Ken, look at that. Dead center in the middle of the parking lot at sunup, there's a sheriff's car with the door swung open on both sides, and sheriffs with 12-gauge shotguns down behind their doors pointed at the front of the store at me and Ken as more squad cars are pulling in and more doors are swinging open and more people with shotguns are directing their attention in our general direction. And Ken, he was a nice guy, but bright. He turns to walk around the counter. He's still got both hands full of money. Goes around the counter and starts heading towards the front door, towards the police, with both hands full of money. Chuck seen this kind of stuff before, and bang, I'm on the ground. I'm looking under the counter. You can see, and I can see the squad cars, and I see Ken's feet go by. I'm going, Ken, don't go out the door. Ken goes out the door, and bang, a very physically fit sheriff's officer who'd apparently played football or something had positioned himself behind the ice machine out there, and Ken didn't see him. And these guys were certain that they had a couple of murderers on their hands. And all I can see from where I'm at is Ken's feet, another set of feet, and then nothing. And then bam, bodies and money everywhere. And of course, we were in the clear. It took a while to get it figured out. Ken got banged up, and I got up off the floor a little older than I had gone down. And I tried to tell people I had a good time in Texas, but the things that went on down there were just plain. Well, anyway, that was my 7-Eleven police story. That's all the time we have for today, boys and girls. Goodbye and good luck.